these again are perfect examples, you guys, of big media influencers, voices, hosts, if you will, oddly enough, all kind of like in the plane crash that was this week, unearthing and rising in the fiery flames of going after one another. So the first one, and not so much, this is more speculative, but is between Alex Cooper and Alex Earl. You don't really need to know much. Like, if you're like, what? Alex Cooper is the host of Call Her Daddy, and she's done a really great job at building a media empire, right? And essentially, like, reviving the Sex in the City, like, women's sex talk, that whole thing. Like, really pretty blonde, obviously smart, the whole thing. Alex Earl is another skinny, pretty blonde. She talks all about, her life and rumors and her travels and her graduation and whatever, like shopping at Limited Too, like whatever. I don't know, whatever she's doing that day, okay? Basically, they were business partners, and Alex Earl, the latter, was signed to Alex Cooper's podcast company, Unwell. And there are all these, whisperings because the show was dropped. Alex Earl didn't go to Alex Cooper's Super Bowl party, even though she was in town and went to other parties, whatever. So the girls on my team, they're fresh and in the know, unlike this old bag, told me that it may not be this like contentious, strife between them, like everyone's building up. They kept it very sort of like in the statement, they kept it very ambiguous, and their feeling is that Alex Earl, like, podcasting is just not her platform. Like, she could go off and do so many other things. She's hot, she looks like a model, she's doing Carl's Jr. slow-mo commercials, like the whole thing. Maybe podcasting just wasn't her jive, because they kept the statement something to like, so she can go pursue opportunities that are outside of here. So you're thinking, like, is that to shop her podcast around elsewhere? Whatever. Either way, regardless of whether these two are at it or not, even like the internet is weighing in about this, right? Like, oh, Alex Earl is the new Alex Cooper. Alex Cooper needs to take a seat, and say they are at it, And what's funny is there also have been rumors that it had Alex Earl walked away because of money. And I thought, how ironic would that be if that were the case? Because if you remember, that was the issue with Call Her Daddy at Barstool, and the falling out there was all with money, right? But even like Dave Portnoy's gotten in on this and is trolling everybody. But here are my thoughts, is that these women are essentially two sides of the same coin. Like, first of all, physically, you can barely tell them apart. I'm not being mean. They're both got not whores. Not, I was trying to combine gorgeous and hot, okay? And it came out as whores. No, you do not call women bitches and whores, like Tina Fey famously said. No, they're both gorgeous and hot, of course, but physically I can barely tell them apart. And even like thematically, it's like, okay, one is talking about sex and friendships and relationships, and the other one's talking about sex and friends and relationships in her life. It's like they're not that different. I'm sorry. It's like they're two sides of the same coin. So whether they're going at it personally or even the public to pit them against one another, it's like, what are we even doing here? I'm sorry. It's like they're basically two versions of the same person. So it's just so silly to watch. Same thing happened, what have you, but Joy Reid this week. So, right, that's more like media, trending, lifestyle-y stuff, but then you have politically. Joy Reid was fired from because they're doing a whole shakeup over at MSNBC. I don't know, maybe they got the memo that like 5 people are watching their network, right? So they fired her, and it was this whole thing where she was in tears and talking about how important her show was, whatever. And then you had Rachel Maddow have the audacity to go on and basically, she's on the same network and her show has been demoted to like once a week, okay? And go on and call basically like the CEO or the powers that be over there at that network racist, because they fired Joy Reid. Like, DEI habits, they die hard, right? So that was that's own little thing. But moreover, what was more fascinating is Megyn Kelly enters the chat, who's a huge conservative commentator, is now, and I don't have to tell you guys know the sitch. So she's on Sirius XM now, and she tweeted basically like rejoicing, no pun intended, about how this is a woman, like, and I've said this too. I've said a version of this, which is like, how has this person, and I meant to do a ChatGPT deep dive on Joy Reid's past, because like how this woman has managed to stay on this network, I think it's been at least since 2016 in a different way, shape, or form for this long, is literally like a miracle from God. Like, I don't even know. But she tweets something to the effect of like, this is a woman who rejoiced in like, I'm paraphrasing, but rejoiced in white tears and like made up imaginary, racism that like didn't exist in like all of these areas and circumstances, right? So, okay, fine. So that's Megyn Kelly chiming in. But now we have Don Lemon entering the chat. I mean, if you thought Real Housewives was your thing, do I have news for you? Unlike these people with the news, because my point with all this that you'll see is that they're all just pandering the same shit just on different sides, right? But so Don Lemon enters the chat and yells every expletive at Megyn Kelly in the book. Literally bleep, bleep, bleep this, bleep that, bleep that, bleep, bleep this, right? Go F yourself. I'm a TV host and a black man, and I've been so for a long time. And here's what I think about that, right? And with all of this, it's mind numbing. It's like, it's all these just like daggers being thrown. Okay. You would think these people are literally trying to revive the real world. And it's just not in a way that's cute. Unlike what I'm going to get to in a way that, because let's be real, like all of the world is a stage, okay, as we are seeing. And you can do it skillfully and artfully or not. And there are people who are doing it artfully that I'm going to get to, right? Because let's be real, we're all shameless, sweetheart. We are all doing it for the cameras at all times. But they're just below the belt, complete insults, one after the other. And I thought the same thing that I thought about the Alex Squared situation, which is how just, I mean, entertaining, yes, but also it's like mind numbing. And I'm just dumbfounded watching it because I'm like, these people are going at each other's throats and don't even realize that they are literally again, two sides of the same coin. They are two versions of the same thing. Be it Rachel Maddow, Joy Reid, Don Lemon, right? And they're, I don't want to even say these people give progressives a bad name, okay? In their little lefty leftist box, pandering. God forbid they can even hear or say something otherwise. And Megyn Kelly, same thing on the conservative side. And Megyn Kelly, by the way, and Candace Owens called her out recently, is filled of contradictions and hypocrisies, right? So both of these parties do it. And so again, to see them going at each other, like this is the imbecile Squid Games, is just silly. Because the truth is, none of these people that I've mentioned are that much of a free thinker, original, breaking out of the box to where they can be like, yeah, sit down. And it's like they're all carbon copies of the same thing. They really are. Sorry, none of them are original. I said it. And so to go at each other, you guys just literally look like a circus. Okay. So it was cute for 5 seconds on our feeds. And yet again, we are over it.